Unless you've been hiding under a rock, which is entirely possible given the state of things recently, you've probably heard the recent buzz on the internet. The United States is being invaded by an angry, foreign enemy. To quote Weird Al's popular song, "Murder hornets coming from across the sea." However, in the quantity in question, they really don't pose much threat to humans in North America yet. However, at the moment, we have a domesticated species that is in dire straits concerning this invasion. Bee populations in the United States and Canada among migratory beekeepers have been on the decline for nearly a decade, and only recently showed signs of revitalization. So the murder hornets, who in their native environments have shown the propensity to outright massacre bee colonies, pose a serious threat to an industry that is already struggling. However, not all is lost, because there are species of bees across the world that have evolved and adapted in cohabitation with the Vespa mandarinia. Today we'll be going over what strategies bees use to protect themselves and hopefully suggest a potential defense against them, both for ourselves and our precious honey-making buzzy buddies. I didn't write that, just so you know. But first, be sure to hit that like button, comment your favorite thing about bees, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell to never miss an episode. I'm Eric Malachite, author of Echoes of Olympus Mons, and this is Science Get. Bees that have had to survive in the same environments as murder hornets have developed a few defenses. Some have adopted the strategy known as forming a Bball. What a Bball is and how it works is incredibly interesting. When one of these scout hornets happens to discover a hive and goes inside to snack on the honey and larvae, the bees quickly mount a defense and swarm the hornet. Of course, they're less than half the size of even a scout hornet, so stinging them would be useless. So the bees tightly surround the hornet and vibrate their wings rapidly. The result is the center of the ball heats up and essentially cooks the hornet alive. That scout won't be buzzing around the hive anymore. Don't bug me. Different genuses of these bees that have evolved in closer proximity to this variety of hornet have adapted stronger defenses. A. serrana form larger and hotter bee balls than their cousins, the Apis mellifera. However, even subspecies of A. mellifera have adopted and used this strategy effectively. Apis M. cyprea form hotter and tighter balls, and as a result, avoid being targeted by the predatory hornet. Apis serrana japonica even lays a trap when they sense the odor of a hunting hornet. Hundreds of them will gather at the entrance of the hive and instantly surround the hornet, covering them during the encounter and vibrating their wings. The temperature of the core of the bee ball rises to a staggering 150 degrees Fahrenheit, causing a buildup of CO2 in the center, suffocating and cooking the invading hornets. That's so metal. Another somewhat less effective but useful strategy the bees have adopted is to use the fecal matter of other animals to deter the hornets. Scientists are uncertain why murder hornets avoid the hives of Apis serrana that have applied fecal spotting around the entrance. But tests on the bees and the hornets yielded some interesting results. In the bees' case, they were able to get their worker bees to start applying fecal spotting simply by dousing the surface in the hornet pheromones. This suggests that the strategy was directly adopted to avoid attacks by hornets. With the hornets, testing showed that they would avoid anywhere where the scientists or bees had applied fecal spotting. Current research leads some to believe that the hornets avoid these hives because in order to enter them, they would have to chew through the wood, which is unpleasantly painted with the dung of whatever animals happen to drop a number 2 close to the beehive. The Vespa mandarinia have been a buzz for some time, and while locally known as Osomabachi, I'm so sorry for that, but that's the only way I could get myself to pronounce it anywhere close to what I think it's supposed to be like. Be like. Get it? I'll shut up now. Or giant sparrow bee, they have been called colloquially murder hornets. Even in Japan since 2008, when a Japanese news story referred to them as Satsujin Suzumabaki. literally translating to murder hornet or wasp. I watch way too much anime. They gain this title in grim distinction because they claim at least 30 lives in Japan every year due to allergic reaction and anaphylactic shock. These hornets send out scouts and hunters to search for sources of food, typically eating any insect or arachnid they come across as well as any larva they find. When they're in their attack phase and targeting a beehive for attack, they don't even attempt to defend themselves when they're attacked. You can easily swat and squash them. However, once they've occupied a hive, they will aggressively defend it until they've finished with their spoils. Even among other hornet species, the Japanese giant hornet have shown to be more aggressive and a stronger combatant. Their size, speed, and aggression make them a very formidable pest. Think of that. Hundreds of 2-inch long, aggressive, buzzing insects, each able to sting you multiple times. Screw that, nuke the site from orbit. Now, what makes the murder hornet so dangerous? Well, for one, these bugs can be as long as 2 inches. Their size alone is terrifying. But now, imagine a swarm of them descending in a humming mass and stinging you. In Japan and regions where these species are native, this is a very real danger. In Japan alone, between 30 and 50 people a year die from hornet attacks. That's close to as many people who die from the combined cause of hornets, bees, and wasps in the entire United States. These are very dangerous bugs. Even a single hornet can pose a serious threat. They are very aggressive, and unlike bees who can only sting once before they die, their stingers rip out and stick into their victim. Hornets, however, can continue to sting you until they die. It only takes about 12 stings in order to send an average healthy adult into anaphylactic shock. For our honey-making friends, however, a scout surviving and returning to their hive will spell certain doom for those bees. Within a matter of days, a swarm of hornets will descend upon the hive and systematically decapitate every adult bee and occupy their hive for as long as a week, feeding on the honey and immature larvae. There's a reason why I wore a Cobra Kai shirt. Unfortunately for us here in North America, most of the bees kept commercially are European bees, Apis mellifera, and as we previously stated, their hives rarely adopt effective strategies. However, given that we have multiple examples of bees acting defensively against these hornet swarms, we, at ScienceGet, acting as hypothetical beekeepers... There it goes again. I guess it's not fixed. Decided to formulate a strategy. Now let's think of this like a defensive war. Sorry, Cobra Kai. We have our non-combatants, the Apis mellifera. We have the Apis cerana and A.M. cyprea, which have both the Bball and the Fecal spotting techniques that prove effective at killing and deterring hornets, respectively. These two strategies will need to be grouped in different ways. The Fecal spotting bees are placed throughout an area where beekeepers have placed their hives to pollinate. The Bball variety of bees needs to be used along the borders to keep the hornets from getting deeper in by destroying scouts before they can get into the vulnerable hives. Now, if American beekeepers were able to coordinate and swap out the hives of mellifera bees with M. cyprea and Apis cerana along the western coast, then we may be able to form a defensive zone. Essentially, this could suppress the spread of the hornets eastward and give scientists an opportunity to track down the nests of hornets to exterminate. There are, of course, serious concerns about introducing a species to a new environment. However, domesticated bees in North America are an introduced domesticated species to begin with. The inclusion of a controlled distribution of Asiatic bees could provide a buffer zone to the more dangerous and aggressive hornets, paired with scientists actively searching out the hives of invading hornets that manage to take hold. And with that, we may be able to stave off and turn back this invasion of angry critters. If you dug this video, be sure to drop a like and comment your favorite thing about bees! And be sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell to never miss an episode of ScienceGet. I'm Eric Malachite, and I'll see you next time.